It's been important to me over the last weeks and days and hour by hour to remember that there are some things that I've done in my life, that some pieces that I've put into place that have really held me up. And whether we're in the 12 steps, whether we're struggling with our adoption issues, whether we're coming from a place of childhood abuse, all of us are in the same boat. And now we can really see we're all on the same planet. Everyone's struggling. Everyone's got to have something to prop them up. The hardest part is the distance between us. Hi, everybody. Kevin Barhyde here. Thanks for tuning in. I've been struggling, and a lot of what I've been struggling with is being at a distance from people and having my whole world turned upside down. And I can't get to meetings, and I can't reach out to the people that I usually see face to face. And if I didn't have my 5 pillars in place, if I didn't have the 5 things that I've put in my life as non-negotiables, I don't know where I would be right now, because I don't have all 5. I don't have my regular 12-step meetings, and that's really a struggle for me. That is the number 1 pillar of my 5 pillars. But if I didn't have the other 4, I'd really be in deep water right now. And that's the important thing. There are other things we can do. There are other things that I'm doing. There's other things that I need to do to make sure that I make it through this. And it's not just about going to physical meetings. Whatever we need to do to reach out to other people and find the community that really supports us, let's do that. If it's on Twitter, if it's on Facebook, if it's anywhere in the virtual world, it's really important for me, and it's been really consequential for me in these last couple of weeks and days to make sure that I put some of those pieces back in place. Because I haven't been to a physical meeting, one-on-one, face-to-face, I don't remember, over 2.5 weeks now. And I don't know when I'll get to go to another one again. But I've been to at least 3 or 4 virtual meetings now. I have a virtual meeting I'm going to tonight on Zoom. I have one scheduled for Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's been really key for me. And I'd encourage anyone that's watching this, if you're struggling, remember there's a community out there. There's a community for all of us. And I know that depending on your technological expertise, your strength in that area, or your weakness in that area, and I will admit I happen to work in technology, but no matter where you are on that realm, take a few minutes to see if you can make some connection to other folks. Find somebody who's doing it that might help you along the way. Somebody that will walk you through the step-by-step of getting on to one of these virtual meetings or connecting. It's been important to me, but even though that's been important, I want to really share that the other 4 pillars in my life have been just as important, and all of those can be worked and can be held in place regardless of whether I go to meetings or not. So please, as you think about the idea that I'm missing people face to face, this is so hard and so unfair, take that step. But don't stop at that step of reaching out to people virtually. Don't stop at that. Maybe there's a second pillar in your life that you can focus on, irregardless of whether or not you get to meet with people face to face or even virtually. If you're like me and you're working the 12 steps, I have my sponsor. Maybe you have a sponsor. Maybe you've been needing to get a sponsor. Maybe you could reach out and ask someone at this time, please sponsor me. Just be the person that I can call on. Someone that's going to help me work through all these issues in my life. If you're not in the program, if you don't have the 12 steps, reach out to a mentor. Reach out to somebody who you trust, who maybe has walked the walk before you. And while that second pillar can be worked in your life without actually having to be face to face, there's a third. And the third one is, especially for someone like me who's working the 12 steps, I can work any of the 12 steps independently. I can get my book, I can read my book, I can read about the steps, I can maybe write a little bit about what I'm struggling with, some of the areas that I want to improve. And again, I want to point this out, even if you're not in the 12-step programs, you can do this self-improvement on your own. You can reach out and find ways to look at what are the areas that you've been struggling with, even if it's just current fear or some kind of remorse, some kind of regret. There's some ways to work on that, even individually. And of course, it's helpful if you have a sponsor or a mentor and someone that you can really work with this on. But that's the third pillar. You don't need to go to a meeting. You don't need to be face to face. You can do that morning, noon, and night, even like me, if you're sitting in your living room almost 24/7. The fourth pillar is just as important, and it's reaching out to other people in the way that we do service. And in the 12 steps, of course, that means I'm reaching out to people that I sponsor. I'm reaching out like this. This is part of my 12-step work. Being able to do these videos and hopefully reaching people who might hear this and say, good, I made a connection. Good, I understand something that I didn't understand before, or I'm keyed up to do something, take some action, and make some progress in my recovery. And that's the same thing. Whether you're working the 12 steps or not, you can do service. Call some people in your lives. Call some people that you know might be in need of a phone call. Don't be waiting for them. Reach out to them. Reach out to some family members. Reach out to people that you love and care about and see how they're doing. And see if maybe they just need someone to listen to. Maybe they just want to talk for a while. And maybe it's just a cup of coffee. This morning, I got on my technology called Duo, which is on my Android phone, with my brother, who's in Colorado, who has an iPhone. So we had to use the technology called Duo. And we had our coffee this morning. He had his phone, I had mine. We both had a cup of coffee. 15, 20 minutes later, hey, James, didn't we have a great cup of coffee? That was wonderful. Hopefully we can do that not only more often with our family, with our brother, but with people that maybe we don't even know that well. Doing service, getting out of our own self, getting out of our own struggles to help others is the surest way to make sure that we find a grounding, and I find a grounding in a spiritual practice. And that's the fifth pillar. The fifth pillar for me doesn't need to have anybody around. It's between me and my higher power, me and the spiritual life that I want to have, me and my God of my own understanding. And again, this is irregardless of the 12 steps, irregardless of any program. You can find a way to pray, meditate, whatever works for you. And if you haven't got any of these practices in place, don't worry. Maybe this is the time to begin. Just pick one of those other pillars. Pick one of them, because if meetings were your mainstay, if meetings were the place that you really connected, and that's maybe been taken away temporarily here, maybe this is a good opportunity to really spend the time and say, I'm going to try pillar number 2. I'm going to try to get a sponsor. I'm going to try to work with my sponsor. I'm going to have a mentor. I'm going to work on some self-improvement. I'm going to do these 12 steps. I'm going to take one or two of them and grapple with them. And I'm definitely going to reach out and do the fourth pillar. I'm going to reach out to some other people and see if I can be of service. And maybe, like, if you're like me, you start your day with some oatmeal and a cup of coffee, some readings, and then a few minutes of prayer and meditation. And that makes all the difference in the world to me. It's about a half an hour how I start my day. And it's sometimes a struggle to go and do that. But it definitely lifts me up. And those are the 5 pillars. And there's other videos on that if you want to follow along with those. I know we're all isolated, but we can do more. We can do more. We can reach out to other people through that isolation. We can also do some things that maybe the isolation maybe even helps us to focus. Don't do this alone. I'm in community. We're in community. I hope to see you again soon. I thank you so much for your time. It's really a pleasure to be a part of your life, and I'm so grateful that you're a part of mine. Hope to see you soon. Please, again, I don't know how to end these videos right now because it just seems so small compared to everything we're going through. But please, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Like the video. Please share this. Just click share, copy the link, and throw it out to the world and see if maybe it helps one other person. Maybe that's your fourth pillar today, doing service. Just spread this out. See if it helps anybody. I'm really grateful to have you stop in and watch this. Thanks so much for your time. Hope to see you next week. Take care, everybody.